What's going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video, and today we're having a look at the brand new Pirate Alliance KIZUNA Clash, which is going to be debuting August 22, so it's actually quite a while away from now, but this is going to be a preparation video to get you guys, get the mind jogging a little bit in terms of what gimmicks you should be taking note of. And we've got two different teams for each variation of this fight, and one team is going to be focusing on using Legend Reiju as the friend captain. Then we have a secondary team that does not do that. So there's a couple of different options, and there's different strategies you can employ if you have a friend captain Reiju or not. And surprise, surprise, Reiju is very good in this event. So it is dependent on how good you are at finding friend captains of a certain character, of course. But either way, I wanted to give you guys that kind of option. So this KIZUNA Clash, just to give you guys a bit of a heads up, it does mention on this bottom paragraph here that the Crystal Skull for Monkey D. Luffy, Gear 5 Luffy's Super Evolution, will be available in box 6 of the KIZUNA, so make sure to do that, as well as the Super Evolution Skull for Sanji and Judge will also be available from boxes 4 to 6. You have to pick up 3 Super Evolution Skulls for Sanji Judge, and then 1 Super Evolution Skull for Monkey D. Luffy. Make sure to do that. Also, they're going to be adding a few more characters. The free-to-play Kaido from the anniversary is going to be available, as well as Big Mom's recent Super Evolution, her Crystal Skulls should also be available. So make sure to keep that in mind. There is also a boosted list here, which is showing you the characters that you ideally want to use. So the new Legend Reiju, the rare recruit Germa Brothers, and then a whole bunch of other characters are also boosted in this event too. So it's going to be interesting. Let's see how this all goes and start getting into the team breakdowns for this upcoming KIZUNA Clash. So here we go with our first team. Now, just want to make sure you guys know that the friend captain is not supposed to be Arena Reiju, of course. This is ideally going to be the new Legend Reiju, so just keep that in mind, because that unit is also a Dex powerhouse fighter character, so make sure to keep that in mind that this is not Arena Reiju. So, as for this first team, so we ideally want to be building predominantly a strength-focused team. So we're going to be using Kaido as our main captain here. Now, for stage 2, we're going to be using the Gin and Krieg special, which gets rid of the defense up, as well as giving us an orb boost. And then with the support of Akainu, we can change all of our slots into strength. And the Legend Reiju has a very interesting captain, where any strength slot on your team is actually converted to become a tandem slot instead. So that's really strong. So we basically just get a full board of tandem slots. But the Akainu support also gives a 1.5 attack boost to our strength characters. So we're going to have an orb and an attack boost and a full board of slots on that stage. Ideally, we'd use the Katakuri special as well. Katakuri gives us 3 turns of a 2.75 chain lock. It's going to be very important once you get to post level 31, as there is going to be a chain attack down based on having 2.5 chain or less. So you want to be above 2.5 chain, and that's a 3-turn 2.75 chain that we can abuse on the next stage. When we move on to the final stage though, we've got Reiju, as we said. She's going to be very useful for this fight. She gets rid of the block slots, she gets rid of the threshold, she gets rid of the paralysis, all post level 31 as well. Just phenomenal, as well as her super type, allowing you to get a color affinity boost. And to activate her super type, we do need one of the Germa characters, whether it be the brothers, Judge, or Sanji. So we're using Clash Sanji here. There isn't really a reason for it, but he is an attack booster, and we don't have an attack boost on the crew, so that's nice that we have that. Another thing you have to take into consideration, you do get inflicted with 1 turn of special reverse, which is why we have the rare recruit King on this team. He deals with that reverse and reverses the cooldown once again, or gives us cooldown for powerhouse characters, which the entire team is powerhouse, so we can abuse that to the fullest extent. And then we have Kaido, because he's got a very good super type, or a super class, should we say, allowing our characters to get Wano slots, which is very strong. And then, of course, with his special, we can get a very significant orb boost and a conditional boost as well, even though Reiju is probably the more ideal conditional boost to use, because she will allow you to get a 2.75 conditional, which is a lot better than what Kaido can give you. But Kaido can still inflict increased damage taken, which no doubt is going to be very useful to have. So now we're going to have a look at the second team that I have for the Dex boss, and we're going to be using double Snake Man. Now, this team would ideally have to have Snake Man at level limit break 5, and it's very important because the special ability gets a pretty big upgrade where when you launch the special, it removes 6 turns of defense up, and that's massive. So we can use our own Snake Man in this team example on stage 2, and that will allow us to get rid of the defense up, and with the Akainu support, give us a full board of slots as well as an attack boost, and then of course Luffy gives us an orb boost and multiple turns of a chain boost. Very, very strong damage from one special as well as getting around all the gimmicks. And then on the final boss stage, we're going to have Usopp to deal with the special reverse and well as 5 turns of damage threshold. The Vivi support removes an additional 2 turns of threshold, which is great. We're going to be able to get rid of the block slots with the Brûlé support attached to the waifus, and the waifu special will remove all the paralysis and give us a very significant color affinity boost. And then we have the Ace and Yamato, which with their switch ability, we can get a 2.5 chain boundary, and then their special will allow us to get a conditional boost, attack boost, and like this deals with all the gimmicks, and we still have a free spot on the crew, so you can really fulfill that position with whatever you want. This is a very solid team that's going to do a lot of damage and likely last a very long time in this event. So overall, a pretty strong team versus the Dex variation of the Sanji Judge KIZUNA fight. Moving right along, we have the quick variation of the KIZUNA. This time, Strength, Dex, and Quick are the characters that get cooldown across the board here. So we're going to be using this team once again, and remember, this is going to be Legend Reiju Friend Captain, not Arena Reiju as the Friend Captain. So we're moving on to stage 2, and there's some really weird gimmicks here. You get paralysis slots. For those of you who don't know, to remove paralysis slots, you need to launch a special that removes paralysis, and in this case we have Sabo. Treasure Map Sabo removes paralysis, and he gives us a chain boundary. Now the chain boundary will start at 3.0 and end at 6.0, so this, like, Sabo by himself deals with all of the gimmicks on stage 2, as well as providing a full board of slots. We do have the Jinbei support on him to give an additional chain boost, probably not required. Remember, Reiju is going to be super effective against all types, so no matter what color the boss is, we should have more than enough damage to kill that stage without a problem. We reach the final stage. Reiju is going to be super good here. Her captain ability removes 10 turns of burn, so we can just completely ignore that altogether. Her special changes unfavorable into matching, so we don't have to worry about matching slots. We have her super type to provide color affinity, and her special, post level 31, removes the paralysis that's inflicted to the crew. We do need a character to proc the super type, which is why we have Sanji. So he's able to provide that super type condition for Reiju, and then Sanji himself gives obviously the chain effect, which is fantastic. But another big thing is that Sanji has the ability to switch into the captain position. That is going to be important because once we kill this KIZUNA fight, the enemy will revive with 25% HP and switch your captain out with one of your crewmates randomly. So if you already have your captain switched into someone else, you are going to completely ignore that debuff altogether. So it's very important that you have that. Now, another couple of things as well. We have Luffy on the crew. He gives us a huge orb boost, and he actually removes 20 turns of despair, so we don't have to worry about the despair at all, even post level 31. Now, Odin on the crew is here because he extends the duration of orb boosts by 1 turn, so Luffy's significant orb boost we can carry through the revive. Reiju will have multiple turns of affinity and multiple turns of that conditional boost, which is going to be very strong. And then we have Ace and Yamato, their switch ability once again providing chain boundary, but of course, you know, Sanji's going to give chain boundary anyway. But they actually provide us with multiple turns of an attack boost. Now, it doesn't actually really boost Reiju, I don't think, because I think they only boost Free Spirit, Shooter, and Striker. So Reiju doesn't actually receive that boost. So ultimately, Ace Yamato can be switched out for another multiple turn attack booster. But again, this is just an example of a team that should be able to deal with all the gimmicks, as well as dealing a lot of damage towards the boss. Alright, so now we move on to the next team, which is going to be another versus quick team with Nami Robin as our main captain this time. So the cool thing about Nami Robin is we are going to get a full board of Wano slots when we start the quest, so we can switch one of our captains around to Robin, so we can conserve those Wano slots for the final stage, which is going to be pretty important. So when we reach stage 2, once again, we're using Sabo. He's a free-to-play unit. We can just use him. Once again, you can use that, you know, Jinbei support for additional chain if you want to go ahead and do that. that. Now, on this crew in particular, you know, we had like a free spot kind of, so I'm using this treasure map Kaido. He does give himself a 3x attack and a 3x orb boost, and he as well as gives himself a Wano slot. So with the chain boundary from Sabo and he himself receiving a 3x attack and orb boost with a Wano slot, I do believe that should be enough damage to kill Battle 2, even if it randomly is a strength focused boss. So that should be enough. We'll have to wait and see, of course. But then we move on to the final stage. The treasure map Akainu is amazing for this quest. He removes all the burn and despair, even post level 31. So this free-to-play Akainu is going to be pretty strong to have. We have 2 Nami Robins, as we said, and we can, you know, use the switch on stage 1 to conserve the Wano slots, activate it again to receive the Wano slots again. So we're going to have Wano slots on the final stage, which is very strong. And then because of the way that Nami Robin works, we can activate one special for an orb boost and another special for an attack boost. With level limit break, the attack and orb boost actually last for 2 turns, so we can, you know, deal with it post revive, which is pretty strong. And then of course we have the Law character. Law's going to give us an increased damage taken effect, as well as with his support giving us the color affinity boost. We also have the Wanda support attached to Nami Robin, which can lock our slots for 1 turn, giving us pretty serious damage output for multiple different turns. Finally, we can talk about the int boss for this KIZUNA clash. This first team is going to be using Versus Whitebeard as the main captain. The main draw to this is the fact that Versus Whitebeard completely resists despair. Well, he resists 10 turns of it, which is very strong. So we don't have to worry about the despair that is heavily inflicted in this stage. It goes to 8 turns and then 9 turns post level 31. So it's very annoying to deal with. But we are using Reiju, Legend Reiju, as I said, once again as the friend captain here. Now, for this team, we have Marco Vista for stage 2. They removed the special bind inflicted to the crew, as well as providing 3 turns of an attack boost to Sai and Powerhouse. And then we also have the Whitebeard special, which can change all of our slots through block into tandem, as well as giving us the ability to get a 3-turn chain boundary effect. It's going to be very valuable to have. We move on to the final stage. We're still going to have the chain boundary and attack boost from the previous stage. Jinbei on the team gives us special reverse, but he doesn't reduce the cooldown of Moria. And people may say, why am I using Moria? The main reason is because he does have a special that negates damage that exceeds 2,000. And that's going to be important because there's a lot of shenanigans on this stage. So when you reach the final stage, they cut your health by 90%. And then they say that when you kill the boss, he does 15,000 fixed damage. So even if you use damage reduction, I believe that they can't go through that. But if you're negating damage with a nullification style effect, that should negate the damage that you take, which is why Moria, I think, is a valid option for this. I think ideally what they want you to do here is to use Gear 5 as your captain, so that if you end up dying, you can revive. But the other thing is if you use a healing effect, then they are going to do 200,000 damage to your crew and then apply a barrier to themselves. So it's very annoying to deal with, you know. So if you have a healing effect, you can revive with Gear 5 Luffy. We'll talk about that in just a moment. We have Sanji Judger on the team because we still need to have a character to proc the super type of Reiju, and Sanji or Judge are valid options for that. And they also provide an orb boost to the powerhouse characters on our crew, and their switch effect will generate a chain multiplicative buff. So we're going to have affinity, and we're still going to have conditional boost from Reiju special as well. Reiju dealing with a lot of different gimmicks here. You are inflicted with poison slots on the final stage, which is kind of interesting. Reiju does remove poison, so we don't have to worry about that. And the heavy resilience that you're inflicted with too, or the enemy has a lot of resilience. It's 7 turns post level 31, 5 turns naturally. So Reiju with her poison, with her super type, will be able to get around that. And she also provides affinity, which is very, very strong. So a solid team, but the damage reduction and special reverse style effects may need some slight tweaking with this team, but overall seems okay for now. And then finally, we make our way to the final team of the video, which is going to be using double Gear 5 Luffy. I do have a feeling, though, that you could just go ahead and use Momonosuke as your friend captain for this quest as well. I think that's also a very valid option, running the hybrid of Luffy and Yamato, or Luffy and Momonosuke together. So with this team, we're going to be using Ray-Ban, Switch, and Special to give us the ability to remove Special Bind and an Orb boost, and then using the Friend Captain Luffy Special to change our slots into matching and give us a color affinity boost. And we do want to make sure that it is the Friend Captain Luffy we use here, because we want to use our own Luffy when we reach the final stage. So when we reach the final stage, we're going to use Nami Special, which will give us a chain boost, as well as a base attack boost, and also her special removes 7 turns of resilience. So we don't even need to worry about end of turn damage, because her effect will enable you to just deal with it, which is awesome. And then you have Usopp Special. Now remember, your health is cut by 90%. So Usopp Special will actually remove all of the despair and give us a guaranteed delayed conditional boost, which is wicked. It's just so much damage. Then we have the Frankie Special. Now Frankie removes the poison slots because he does remove poison with his special, and he provides an attack boost and an orb boost, a 2.5 times boost at that. And then he also heals us for 30% of our max HP. Now of course, this is where if you activate a healing special, the enemy will go ahead and deal 200,000 damage to your crew, and they'll apply a 10-hit combo barrier. So this is big because the 200,000 damage will kill us, which means we revive with our own Gear 5 Luffy Captain, not the Friend Captain revive. It's our Luffy Friend Captain, or our Luffy revive, which means that we can use the special of our Luffy to get all of the benefits from his special effect, which will actually remove the combo barrier altogether, even though Gear 5 Luffy bypasses it, which is still pretty strong, and also give us a very big color affinity boost. So we're going to have color affinity from Luffy, attack and orb boost from Frankie still, delayed conditional boost from Usopp, and we have the chain and the base attack boost from Nami, as well as potentially using the Rush Sugo special whenever that's capable of being activated as well. But you do have to be very cautious though, because when the enemy is defeated, they will do 15,000 fixed damage to the crew, and we can just get around that as well, because of the fact that, you know, even if you do use the rush, you know, the rush like takes 20,000 damage, so I think it should be able to work out. It's still going to be kind of funky, but you do need to make sure you have at least 15,000 HP to tank that hit. I did forget to mention as well that post level 31 you're given 1 turn of special reverse, and Nami will be able to bypass that as well. So I think that this is a very strong team, and I'm really excited to give this team a shot in this upcoming KIZUNA, especially once you get relatively deep into the KIZUNA Clash itself. I don't know if this is going to be the most optimal team versus Int, but it's a team I really want to trial out. So with all of that, that is going to wrap it up from me. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure to go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all of the content that I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. On that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.